All right, I'll put in pieces here. We know that we are in the 21st century. There is no gods. All that's created by our brains, but defective brains that accept delusions, irrational, deluded fairy tales like those of the Bible and thousands of other ancient texts as they were reality. God doesn't exist. It's a product of our brain. But I'm going to go back in time and 3,000 years ago, and I'm going to make the connection how certain symbols, religious symbols, evolved, becoming what we have today in the Catholic Church and many others religious beliefs. Symbols. The symbol of power in ancient times, the way you control people is with religious beliefs. But in those times, kings were considered sacred sons of God, came from the heavens. Their penises were considered sacred. So, and fertilized the earth. So that's the power they had, the power of religious belief, which still happens today. Controlling the mind of people is more important than having weapons or anything. Weapons controlling the mind. That's what the ancients did. Here are the symbols. Those times they believed everything was reality. Today we know they're believing in it. There's no such a thing as gods. All that stuff is garbage. It's a psychosis. But here are the symbols. Akhenaten made the sun God, the one with the penis, creator, light, the only true God. These are his symbols of the flail and crook. And of course, yeah, with a gun and a Bible. The equivalent in modern times, everything comes from Egypt. The most important things in ancient times was the religious text, controlled by the king. All the kings were son of God, the divine. And the one important symbol was, the two symbols were the crook, that hook thing, which is called the litus in the Roman religion, and the flail. Well, the litus, the crook, was a weapon. It's not necessarily something that you're going to, like the bishops say, oh, just to the sheep, and they control the sheep and all that. That's garbage. It's bullshit. It didn't come out from that. It's actually truly a weapon that you can see here. And the flail, which is these little things like that, represents the spirit war. Because in those times also you whip flies with, but they didn't know what flies were. All these insects were sacred. They suspended in the spirit world, and this was the power, the flail. So those two main things represented that. And shown here by Akhenaten, the one that decided that the sun was the only true God. He's the one that started actually the so-called monotheism, but evolved. And then of course in the Roman religion, the father Julius Caesar, Christ, was the one that began to mold and change everything, mutated much later into the Jesus Christ, the Jesus Christus, because his body as a person that existed, a general and dictator, that was also considered a god, and he was a head priest. His priest of Archaeos Megistus became separate from him. So that's the reason nobody can find in history a Jesus Christ, because actually it's the title of head priest of Gaius Julius Caesar. The Roman Empire was founded by a mythological hero, Aeneas, 2,700 years ago, supposedly, when after the Trojan War. These were all gods, and he carried his son Anchises, which is Julius, and he will be the descendant, the ancestor of the God and Savior Julius Caesar Christ, the family Julius. In ancient times, blood was sacred. He was divine. The lion represents the rays of the sun, and blood was sacred. The sacred blood of the bull, the Apis bull, was sacred. The Romans used it in ceremonies during the Tower Bolium, bathe themselves with blood and put blood in their head. That comes from nature and from animals being defending themselves, lions killing. They couldn't explain what animals were. To them, they were gods. That's where it came from. So, and the Roman priests adopted the litus, the crook, which was a weapon, and the flail. Then you see in the banners and sacred flags of the Roman Empire, you see these little flails, the little tassels and ribbons. There are ribbons. Since an act of masturbation created the universe, the penis was equated with the fertilizing rays of the sun and a power. As you can see here, the god Min is still having the flail, but now he has his penis, which is the crook has converted into the penis because it's a control tool, you know, and it's the creator god. Blood was considered always sacred, especially blood from lions and the bulls. That's where the sacrifice Christ, would I say, with blood nonsense comes from, and originally from the Tower volume.
This is a Tower volume.
This ceremony is still with us today. Bullfights. That's what it is. Blood in ancient time was sacred. All the sacrifices, you put the blood. All the priests, the Son of God, they put the blood right on their faces and do the sacrifice. That today. That's where the blood of Christ bullshit comes from. That's the reason there is not such a thing as crucifixion. Nobody will put a guy bleeding, a criminal, on a cross. Impossible, because the blood would be, you will be considering the criminal a god that gives the blood. So that's the reason the retarded Christ-psychotics don't understand. The Holy Father, Julius Caesar Christ, will always wear blood on his face. I'm certain they get this blood sacred, like the semen sacred, from observing nature. And animals and lions that have been fed with all the blood, blessed by God with all that blood, especially when they see these leopards with all that after eating, you know, and they see all this blood. They were sacred, so they copied that from nature. Look at this idiot trying to convert a lion to Christianity. This Christ-psychotic tried to convert lions to Christianity using a Bible. What a retard! Christians are like that. They're lunatics. Just like any person suffering from schizophrenia, their imaginary friends didn't help them. Those who don't understand the past don't know what's going on today and are retards. It is obvious in the way the religious retards use the litus, the crook. It was a tool in ancient times. The litus was a divine sign of power and also a weapon. So this is Aeneas escaping from Troy with his father Julius, and here is Augustus, the Christus, with his litus, and the Catholic Church copied, as you can see here.
Anything, he had no idea what it represents.
It looks like this Christ-psychotic is waiting for lions with his litus. The retard doesn't even know what it is.
In an area this big, it is very difficult to find cats, but here, the lions will find you.
To deal with a charging lion is to fight, and I have this crook to protect me.
Right. Boom! A stick is probably the best thing you can have with a lion. All cats are the same, captive, wild. Eventually it's going to boil down.
The ancients knew that.
Usually, when they want you to go away, they're going to let you know. So you keep your eye on them, keep your eye on them, and as they come in, you're basically aiming up at the cat, back off, boom, right there. And that's going right down the throat. And you just push, you keep stepping. They've got a gag reflex right at the back of their throat that, as long as you're on it, they cannot come forward.
Kruger Park gets
tough.
Of lions.
The other guy. I need to be
incredible how this guy fends off his animals. It's amazing.
You don't want to run to the
For those infected with Protestant Christianity, I must point out, everything came from the Roman Catholic Church. They invented Christianity thanks to Constantine I. And they're nothing but delusions. There's no such thing as Christ. The only Christ was Julius Caesar. And blood was sacred. That's where everything comes from. Pace Dior.